Hey everybody, it is Justin, your guide into Dookey Dash Unclogged. So I've come back with another video. I've had some time to grind, throw in some time, and honestly, adjust myself, because in the first video, that was of course just my first playthrough, literally just booted it up, and I had a couple of tips, especially I had a couple of days to grind. I'm sitting at about 577,000 for my my longest run. Of course, that's not the greatest, but there's some people with like 2.5 million. Holy moly, this is competitive. And what I realized, the first tip that I did have, especially if you're playing on the Windows version, is you got to turn up your mouse sensitivity. You guys rightfully pointed out, Justin, you aren't picking up the power-ups. You aren't getting the things you're supposed to get. And I realized the power-ups make a hell of a difference, especially if you are grinding the game, right? And the main reason why I wasn't picking it up in the first video is because my mouse sensitivity was like 1000 DPI, right? And that was like way too low to pick up power-ups, to maneuver effectively. And I changed it. I set it to like 3000, and I was like, okay, that makes a world of a difference. Like it's a lot easier to react. And of course, I've had some time to practice. This is just kind of my first run of the day essentially, but I just want to throw out the video. I would say it's really helped a lot. And of course, I would also say that my second tip essentially is, if you are picking up the power-ups, it's going to help a lot. Okay, I'm totally failing at picking up the power-ups, but I'm trying to talk and play at the same time. But essentially, it really does help, turning up your mouse sensitivity, making sure to pick up the power-ups, because the power-ups make a significant chunk of your score. So it's definitely going to be important to optimize for that. And then, just make sure that you're doing everything right. But honestly, I would say my third tip is like just putting in the time, putting in an hour here, there. Honestly, everything that, when you're playing a game, pro players do this, they scrim, they build stuff. I'm talking about Fortnite specifically. They practice building, they practice, getting acclimated to the speed of the game, right? And I would say, that applies here to Dookey Dash, where a lot of your score is determined by how fast you can react. And essentially getting that muscle memory on the board is like really, really important, because at some point you're going really fast and you can't think about things, and you're just gonna have to trust that your muscle memory is just good enough to handle that, right? So honestly, again, I know there are some other tips too. I know you can try to wall hug, but I haven't put enough time to really go into the game theory of that. But what I found is, more often than not, I would say that a lot of it is RNG. You might hit some debris and then you're just going to get blasted, and it's not going to be the greatest in the world. But I've also noticed, you have to kind of see what the limitations of how much movement you have, because I've also noticed that when you zoom side to side, I'm kind of showing you here, without trying to die, there's only a limit to there. I don't know, if you wall hug, it seems like you can extend that a little bit, but if you like zoom to the side, then you only move like half across the screen. But again, I'm just gonna have to keep playing, just to get the intricacies of the game, figured out essentially, and try to optimize as well as I can, because honestly, it's just a numbers game. The amount of time and the sensitivity that you can build in your muscles to react to everything inside of the game is just really important for you. But again, just kind of recap. Okay. Yeah, just to kind of recap, what's really important is, first of all, your mouse sensitivity. Of course, what platform you're playing on. If you're on Windows, then you have large control over that. I'm not necessarily sure, how to translate that over to like Android. I believe there's a setting that you can adjust the sensitivity inside of the game, for the mobile users. But again, I would just say, yeah, the power-ups are really important. Like, oh yeah, when you're playing mid-game, I would say mid-game, especially, shit, I just missed that. Anyways, I would say early game of like a run is like 0 to maybe 250,000, and then things get really, really fast. I know I keep saying, I know I said that about 100,000 in the first video, but you kind of understand where your limits are, especially when you do a ton of runs. I mean, it's like any other runner game, like Temple Run or Subway Surfer. You just get acclimated to the speed. But I would say the power-ups really matter at certain aspects of the game, because of the when you're really, when you build your muscle memory, like, you can navigate the early stages of the game. And I would say my limit for like managing it, the speed, is like maybe up to 250,000, and then after that, like, it becomes muscle memory. So the power-ups, early game power-ups that are really useful, are the magnets, right? Because the magnets early game can allow you to optimize and pull in a lot of the power-ups, or the the score boosters that you have to pick up really early. So you can stack a lot of these like tiny ones, you know, that increase your score that you might not be able to pick up later when everything's zooming really fast and you just kind of have to pray. So a really good early game is the magnet, right? But of course you can, you know, intersperse those. I'm totally fucking this up. Anyways, early game, the magnet, I would say that's really nice, right? And then I would also say that when you get past a certain point, you need to have some breathing room and like reprise to like like not die like when you're past 500,000, right? And I would say a really nice power up for that type of optimization is probably the timer one, right? The timer one's really important because you know, you need time to breathe, and you know, it helps you slow down, especially when you're like later into the game, and then you can focus on planning your moves out, even though that doesn't really mean much when you're going at 10,000 miles per hour, right? I know I'm sitting at like 225,000 right now, and of course the timers help with that, so that's really nice. That makes it, you know, much easier to get a higher score. But oh yeah, it's so you can kind of notice the speed like gets really high. Well, at least for how I feel right now with my current skill in the game. Those the timers are really important. Like one right here, it's probably going to slow me down for a little bit so I can focus on grabbing the power-ups. And obviously don't try to get power-ups that are near, okay, shit. Anyways, don't try to get the power-ups that are near any of like these bars because you're just going to wipe out. So yeah, those are really nice. Those are really important. And again, you know, I really like the game thus far. I really like the extension that they had. So again, the preseason, the closed beta is going to close in about 3 days. So we don't know when the full release is going to come out. That's still to be determined. But of course, I just wanted to drop some quick tips and tricks. You know, of course, just to recap them, adjust your mouse sensitivity as high as you can. Of course, it's going to vary per user and depending on how you play the game. And then the second thing was, of course, focus on the power-ups, focus on picking up those small score boosters, you know, to as much as you can, try to optimize for that. And then, of course, the actual power-ups, you know, those are important, especially early game. Get the magnets. Mid game, you know, what you can handle. Try to get those, you know, those timers that slow down time for you. And then last but not least, of course, just, you know, try to build your muscle memory with exposing your brain to the game as much as you can. But of course, that's if you want to, you know, compete on the leaderboards. You know, try to win some stuff on, you know, that 8 prize pool. But currently, we're just playing. We're just enjoying the game thus far. But hopefully, you like this video. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Yeah, I'll try to have everything ready for you. But hey, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.